Hi everyone, welcome back to the Social Hotelier podcast with me, Sam-Erik. I'm excited to welcome Caro Kabaale to this episode. Carol is a Meta certified ad strategist who helps hotels to grow their impact through purpose-driven Facebook ads campaigns. With over 8 years of experience, Carol specializes in attracting high-quality leads and driving measurable results. So I hope I got that right, Carol. So welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Sam-Erik. I am so excited to be here. This is going to be very, very fun.
Now, I have to admit, I know Facebook from over the years, and I have been skeptical how advertising works with Facebook, but that's where you have a chance to, I'm not here to say counteract why they don't work or what I don't believe on Facebook, but I know where they work, but it needs an expert who knows how to make sure they're doing their press the right buttons and make sure they work. So that's why, and I think there is also in the audience people who are they want to use Facebook in a more clever way so they can grow the community and be not so reliable on online these online travel agents. So I think that they will welcome this episode. But before we start with any further discussion, could you the audience and myself particularly, I would like to know about your professional background and the journey that has led you to what you do today.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, my name is Carol. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My journey started with my parents brought me from Cuba to South Africa, and then I had a pretty normal life. You know, I went to school, I went to university. In university, I studied at Stendon, which I did a BCom degree in hospitality management. I then went ahead and I worked at Hilton in Cape Town, and there I worked in business development, and I worked there until my now husband proposed to me, which was really fun. He lived in a different town, and that's when I decided, you know what, as much as I love hospitality, this is not where I see myself growing as an individual. And I decided to start my own company. At first, it was focused on social media marketing, but the more that I delved into it, I understood that I enjoyed the data components of Meta ads more. So that's when we shifted a little bit and we focused more on Meta ads or Facebook ads. And the reason I love them is because they're so data driven. As you know, Sam has kind of alluded to, you can make decisions based on data, which is great, rather than hoping and praying that something is going to happen. And that's a little bit about me. Other fun facts is that like I said, I have a husband who I really love. His name is Joel. We have a little Boston Terrier whose name is Charlie. He's like the best boy. And I also love a good Chardonnay, and I love anything with carbs. Pizza, pasta, bread, bring it my way. I love it.
Wonderful. I think we have a lot of things in common there.
Yes.
So the online advertising campaigns are a kind of vital part of the hospitality. And from your experience, can you dive a little bit more into the roles and responsibilities of the people who will drive these campaigns? And also, how do you think this evolve in the future? Are there going to be some middlemen who will do the campaigns on behalf of the hotel, or do you think the hotels themselves will do it, or how do you see it?
For me, I think it depends on the hotel and, you know, what is your brand standard. So I think bigger like chain hotels, they could probably, if they have someone at the property level who has studied it or can understand it, they could probably implement it. If not, then at like a regional level, someone could do it for them. I do think it's imperative that you do have someone or a department responsible for this type of marketing, because as you mentioned, like, we're kind of competing with all these OTAs, and like no one wants to give them money. We want people to book direct. You want people to sign up to your platforms, to your email lists, and create that, like, skip the middleman. We don't need them.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against online travel agents because they actually serve a purpose, particularly independent hotels when they open up the hotel. They need customers, and of course there's a large chunk of bookings that may come through. The only problem is that those customers are not your customer or the hotel's customer. They're the customers of the OTA, because the emails are not going to be there. They just, it's paid in advance and then they pop up into the hotel. So that's why I think it's quite relevant, and that's how I see that particularly independent hotels, I think they can use very cleverly how they can use these, how they can leverage the meta ads, and that's kind of a question I have, that how can independent hotels leverage meta ads to incentivize direct bookings, and what results might they expect in reducing the dependency on online travel agents?
So I think the first kind of campaigns that they can run is, first of all, let's get right back to basics before we go to all the cool stuff, right? Like, most times when you have a hotel, an independent hotel, what we're usually doing is we're taking a piece of content, whether it's a graphic or it's a video, and we're posting it on a social network, right? I deal with like Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp, and that's where the ads would show up. Now, the buying experience is very aspirational depending on like what the property is. So if it's like a vacation, maybe you have like a lot of like beautiful beaches and you're showing all the amenities, that kind of like, collateral that you would use. But if you're more business orientated, maybe you show those kind of assets. I think what's important for properties is to really understand what they offer and who they serve. That's number one. You've got to understand, this is me, everybody else does something else, right? Now, once you've identified that and you create content around it, right, the ads are only going to amplify that. They're not like some big secret thing. They're just going to make sure that all the time and energy you've spent on having that professional photographer come in and take these beautiful photos, that all the time that you spent, with people cleaning the rooms and making them look nice, and now you've hired someone for that role to upload them onto the platform, it actually gets seen. So the best way that I would say is, now that you've got all these components, you want them to be seen. And one of the easiest campaigns that I would recommend they run is kind of like, I give you something, you give me something. And by that, that's the easiest way I can say it. By that, it can be a discount, or it can be some kind of incentive like early check-in or some kind of amenity for the room. But to get it, we need to have your email, right? So the email is crucial, because the email is how you start to build the profile of this guest, right? It starts with an email, and that's the conversation. Picture it like being at a bar and someone buys you a drink. It's the first thing you get from them, right? After that, you chat a little bit more and you get to know each other a little bit more. Same thing. You will continue that conversation via email, sending them your promotions, your updates, what's going on, or things that are specifically for that person. Maybe now, because they've checked in, their birthday, you can send them something for their birthday month or anniversary. And again, you're incentivizing them for you to stay top of mind. So when they are in that area again, or they want to take that vacation again, they go, oh, these people email me a lot, and I quite enjoyed my stay there. Yeah, I'll go again. Why not?
There you go. Yeah. So I think you're really, you answered a question I never had a chance to ask you. And
okay, sure.
So, and that's for in what ways can building an email list create a lasting relationship with a guest? And I think since you answered that very well, so I think we skipped that question completely. So, but it was very well done. But I think one other thing is that, as you rightly said, that who do I serve? Who am I for? I mean, that's really a thing you have to really think very hard. That
yes.
You're not here to serve everybody, but you serve some very specific group or age group or people who are interested in some very specific things. But I think what would be interesting to know from your point of view, how do personalized guest experience play a role in setting independent hotels apart, and what specific services resonate most with today's travelers? I mean, how do you see that?
So first of all, this is what I love about small little hotels, because they can have so much fun. They don't have brand standards that we need to keep up with, They can go and do personalized little touches or things that make them unique. And then you can take whatever makes your property truly unique and play on that on socials. Be the hotel that when guests check in, you guys do something like a wow thing. Be the people that couples want to go and celebrate their anniversaries there because you have the most beautiful turn down service and they want to Instagram it and show all their friends and be like, you should be jealous. Look where I'm spending the night, right? By creating those custom experiences and moments, it encourages your guests to share, to talk about it, to literally advertise for you for free. But you as the property also have an opportunity. When you do these wonderful moments, you can also capture them, right? And put them on your own social media and say, wouldn't you want to experience this? Come experience this. We'd love to have you join to do this. And again, by maybe running paid ads, you don't have to rely on an algorithm, which, you cannot, when you post something on whatever socials, you have no control over it. You're just hoping and praying that your guest will see it. But by running an ad, you're strategically telling that algorithm, hey, show this to my followers or show this to this group of people, which is really interesting.
Very good. Okay, so I think that really justifies a paid ad campaign. You have at least you have a little bit more control now than you had when you just put some organic postings and so on and hope for the best. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So just thinking about strategies, what strategies can independent hotels implement to highlight local culture effectively, and how does this impact guest perceptions of authenticity? The reason I ask you this is that for me, community is all that matters in many ways. You want to build community in a hotel, not only community, but the guest community, but also embracing the community that is around the people who live there. But one of the ways that hotels could do it is to highlight local culture effectively. Just sort of examples, looking at the area where you are at the moment, and can you give you some examples what you have seen, some independent hotels, how they do it so well?
I think it's really important to pick on what is around you, right? And not be dismissive of the environment. In fact, bring that in, because most of your like the travelers and the people who went to that region went to experience a part of that culture. And if that continues, imagine if the hotel embraces nothing of the culture outside, it's just going to be like the sterile, weird environment. They're like, what's this? And then they walk outside and there's like flavors and colors and energy. You want to continue that experience so that it's one seamless experience for the guest. I remember, so the Hilton I worked at was situated in Bo-Kaap in Cape Town. And if you've ever Googled Bo-Kaap, it's like these beautiful, colorful houses. It's in a mostly Muslim area, but each house is a different color. So it's beautiful. It's like a rainbow. It's so fun and vibrant. And I remember that in the property, there were always these pops of colors. And whenever they had like their traditional carnivals or things like that, we would tell the guests, hey, they're doing this. You can, look out your window today. We're going to embrace this. Or we are serving, especially in the menus. Chefs love this. I mean, the local flavors, the things the produce that is fresh, that's organic, that you can bring in and you can be like, this is something that you're only going to experience in this property. And again, highlighting those unique selling points is what's going to make you stand out, because we all know what to expect at certain brands. We all know it's very much cookie cutter, copy paste. It's like the same hotel in a different location. What makes, independent hotels or little boutique hotels or even like a safari or a game lodge is the fact that you are able to really be in the culture. It's more like you see people every day, the way the team members interact with you, all of that. It just makes the guest experience, I think, so much better. And again, it's great to show it to the guest, but show it to the world. If you guys did something special in your menu, take a video of it, show people, be proud of it.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, if you look at a guest who had a wonderful time, and so now how can a retargeting campaign be tailored to reach past guests, and what type of offers typically drive the highest engagement in repeat booking?
I would say it depends on what your property is known for, right? So whatever you're known for, let's use a simple example, like you are a place for holiday makers. Then I would probably send out the retargeting campaign that I would do. So just so everybody's on the same page, retargeting just means you're interacting with people who have previously interacted with your socials, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, or they've interacted on your website. So maybe they've visited your website and they've browsed around, but maybe haven't become a client yet. You are then able, through Meta ads, to show them a specific ad and say, hey, Facebook, please show this ad to this person because they visited my reservation site and didn't complete it. If that is the case, there's two fun ways that I would say you could do it. One is to be really obvious with it. Be like, hey, we saw you checking out our property. Why don't you come and complete your booking? You deserve it. Because guests are not dumb, okay? Guests are not dumb. They know that we are also trying to get them to join our property. So sometimes being a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, if that's part of your culture, go ahead and do it. If not, then just making sure that you're top of mind and saying and hitting them with those unique selling points or a discount on their stay works really well. I also find that special occasions, if you know birthdays, anniversaries, special events that they went to visit there, maybe they had not only for stays, but let's say they had a function and they celebrated a christening or wedding or a business, a recurring meeting. Say, hey, come have that meeting. We'll give you this. Or, hey, come have that meeting. We miss you. It's all about, again, being the obvious choice when that problem presents itself. Very good.
Now, large hotel chains. There's a market of the market is saturated with large chains. What unique characteristics should an independent hotel emphasize in their marketing to stand out? I give you an example. In Helsinki, the capital here of Finland, you stand in the center of the city, and you have literally we had 10 hotels of the same brands. And if you ask me what's unique about these hotels, I would have no idea except the name. And I think there might be many of the world cities, maybe in Cape Town or etc., that have maybe a similar situation, that you have maybe several of the same brand of hotels. But once you have an independent hotel, you have the opportunity to do something very different. So in one way, what unique characteristic should an independent hotel emphasize in their marketing to stand out compared to the usual 5 suspects of large chains?
I think the fact that they're not held by these brand standards makes them unique. And I think they need to double down on that. The fact that they can just say, hey, let's go on a tour. We're going to include that. Or, hey, this is our menu. We don't have to abide by 1, 2, 3, 4. The kind of room setups, the guest experience when they walk in, how they're greeted. I remember, my husband and I recently, we went to a lodge. And lodges are quite nice because they're quite small. So it's literally you, maybe the general manager, and 5 other people in this whole lodge. But you just felt like everything was so personalized. Everything was so attention driven. And I remember the one day, the only animal we hadn't seen was the elephant. And they came back from our game drive and they asked us, hey, how was the drive? I was like, we saw everything but elephants. So the next time we went out on the drive, they made it a point. We're going to show them these elephants. They're not leaving here. And we spent hours looking for them and we found them. Same thing like that. I think little touches like that, listening to what your guest is saying, but also being mindful of the environment, really can make you stand out. As well as building those relationships. The fact that I knew the general manager by name and we interacted is very different to being in one of these chains where, your most basic interaction will be with someone in front office. So really giving them that sense of hey, this is not just a hotel, it's kind of like your home away from home.
Exactly. That's very good. Yeah, the thing is that the best memories I have from the hotels I stayed are some small things that has happened to me during the stay. And one particular time, we stayed with my wife in a hotel, and we ordered breakfast. We decided that we will order a room service breakfast this time, and the room service knocked on the door, brought the beautiful breakfast, but also he laid out the table for us and so on. And then he said, well, I have something. I noticed that you always enjoy fresh fruits when you go to the to enjoy the breakfast in the morning. So we decided with our team to create a shot that you can drink, which is made from those fruits. So we wonder what you think about that. So I was kind of really surprised, and I still remember that. Can you, after all these years?
And you see, it's creating those little memories that will like stand out in a guest's brain. I bet you if I was traveling to the place where that property is located, you'd be like, Carol, you have to stay there. Because you have such fond memories of it. And again, it's creating that environment of you're going to have the best time or you're going to have a great experience. That's what we should always aim for. I think that's what we try to aim for most times in hospitality. Some people get it really great. Some people, I don't know, we have to help them along.
Absolutely. But what do you think are some effective ways for independent hotels to communicate their exclusive experiences and foster a sense of loyalty among the guests?
So one, if they were doing a social campaign, you could highlight that thing. So let's use a practical example. Let's say that their unique thing is they have a menu that is designed around the local culture and it's, you know, designed by a local chef and it's really a hands-on experience. Maybe they'll have some local performers and things like that. So you advertise this experience and you say, hey guys, join us for this event, or when you book with us, this will be part of it. You showcase it. And now how they can claim it, this is one of my new favorite campaigns that we've been running that's really popular right now, is, I don't know if you've noticed this, Sam, where people say, comment the word blank and I will send you this. Have you seen that kind of post on like social media before?
I think I have, yes.
Yes. So with that, right, you can say, hey, if you'd like more information about this, or if you'd like to get an extra secret course, so like it's 5-course meal, but if you want to get course number 6, comment the word blank and we'll make sure to add it to your day, right? Now this becomes exciting. It's a game. The person comments, then you start a chat with them. So now someone either in the marketing department or in guest relations, whoever is responsible for this kind of thing at your property, can have a real conversation. It'll be like, hey, let me get you down for that booking. Let me send you a payment link. And on top of that, it's like quite interactive. You can also ask them, are you celebrating anything? Do you have any dietary requirements? And you make the whole experience more memorable. But before you give them all that experience, you say to them, by the way, this 6th course is exclusive for people who follow us. So make sure you follow us so that you can grab it. Now, what that does is twofold, is they have to follow you. So now they're even more invested in your community. They're even more part of your ecosystem. And you're creating kind of like this gamification of saying like, okay, now I've followed them. Now I'm in this little cool VIP club. Now I'm getting this extra little thing. And it might just be that the extra little thing, you know, it doesn't have to be a huge meal, but it's just the excitement that comes with it. And it's the excitement of knowing that you've done something that's pretty exclusive and nobody else has done.
Yeah, I mean, I would grab that kind of opportunity right away. This sounds very, very enticing.
Yes, yeah.
So, I'm thinking about this. When we are running a hotel, you always think about how can I measure this return on investment of the meta ads campaigns. How can the hotels measure that ROI of the meta ads campaigns, particularly in the comparison to traditional online OTA commission costs? Is there a way to do that?
So I think you have to say, how much are you giving away in commissions, right? For the year or for the month, for a period of time, let's say for a period of time. And then say, okay, if I put that same percentage towards running my own ads, what would be the ROI? That would be kind of the test that I would do. And there's 2 kinds of main campaigns that I would encourage people who have hotels to run. The first one would be an awareness campaign. Now, why do we need awareness? Because people need to know we're here, right? They need to know that we have these wonderful experiences, facilities, amenities, that we have these competitive prices. So that one is more focused on the content. So you want to have beautiful videos, you want to have stunning photography, you really want to put your best foot forward. And what we're going to measure there in terms of ROI is things like impressions and reach. So how many people have seen the campaign, how many people have interacted or engaged with the campaign, how many likes, follows, comments. Those are the metrics that are going to tell us if this is done well. Of course, if you have very little shares shares, likes, impressions, people saving it, it wasn't a good campaign. And if the more you have, the better it's performed. The second type of campaign that I would suggest would be a more of a lead capturing campaign. So once again, I give you something, you give me your email, right? So that something is whatever the hotel wants to give, whether it's a discount on a rate or it's an amenity, something. So I give you something, you give me something. Now, once we have that email, we can do a nurturing campaign where every so often, maybe once a month or, once a week, you send your deals, your specials, what's going on. And don't only focus it on that. Hotels have so much life. If you guys are doing social outreach, if you're doing projects within the hotel, if you have a team member that's really excellent and you want to spotlight on them, people like to be invested in things like that. I mean, we all like a good discount, but we also like the story. We like to get there and kind of feel like, oh, I know Carol. She's our person of the month or whatever. I don't know. Or she's the chef or she's this. You kind of feel like, okay, I know where I'm going. I know what's happening here. So that would be my nurturing campaign that I would say would be the second type of campaign that you want to run. And then the one that you're all waiting for is the sales campaign. And that's really where you can actually track ROI. So if I invest let's use baby numbers, for example, if we use like $10 in advertising, how do I get 100 back, right? So with that, the point is to get a conversion on your website, to get a booking. And that campaign, unfortunately, it is the one we most want, but that one tends to be the biggest ask. Why? Because people shop around, because people come back, because you have to show up in front of them multiple times before they make that buying decision. But I also want you to look at it this way. It might seem like it's expensive, like, oh, I ran ads and they were like $50 or $100 to get a guest. But what's the lifetime value of that guest outside of an OTA? That should also be taken into account when you do your KPIs and your ROIs.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. So the sequence you were mentioning, is that the sequence you're recommending hotels to comply to, that they go with the nurturing and then go to the sales campaign?
Yes. A lot of the biggest mistakes I see with most people running ads is that they want to go straight to sales. Yeah. Right? And if you haven't warmed someone up, if someone has never heard of you and you say to them, hi, please marry me, they're going to be like, no. Yeah. No, thank you.
That's right.
But if you meet someone and again, you buy them a drink, you guys have a conversation, you go on a couple of dates, there's the nurturing. So you see, awareness is, I saw you at the bar. Nurturing is, we talked, we had a drink. And now we're going to get married. That's the sale.
That's a very good analogy. Yeah, excellent. We have always some pessimists listening in, and they will ask you, what obstacles do independent hotels face in promoting direct bookings, and how can these challenges be mitigated through digital advertising?
So the biggest challenge you're going to face is that you are going up against people who have huge budgets, right? Yeah. These, an online travel agent or bigger chain hotels, they have huge budgets because of course they do. They want to be top on Google. They want to have the best ads on socials. But I don't want that to deter you, okay? Yeah. I want you to visualize this, okay? If you have a small budget, it's going to be like a tiny piece of paper, like this little piece of paper. It's very tiny. Now, you can see this piece of paper, right? You might sometimes have to squint if someone is standing at the back of the room, but you can see the piece of paper. That's all that happens when you have a tiny budget. When you have a big budget, you'll have like a giant billboard, right? The billboard can be seen miles away. So, both of them are effective. Both of them will get results. One of them will get results faster, the billboard. But you can, with a smaller budget, which is what most properties will have, you can attract people. And what you really want to do is attract and maintain people. Want to repeat them to have your experiences at your properties.
Very good. We touched on some storytelling and stories around hotels, but how can storytelling around local culture and experience enhance an independent hotel's brand identity, and how can it be woven seamlessly into that in their online presence?
I think it has to be, like you said, it has to be woven into it. It can't just be like, oh, I guess we do this. I think if it has to be something that you're proud of and something that you'll respect in that culture, and give it the attention that it needs when showcasing it, right? Yeah. So whether it's through the food or through personal touches that you do in the hotel or you offer a tour, it has to be something that's part of your company culture, and that it's easy for you to be like, yeah, let's go wine tasting if you're on a wine farm, or yeah, come taste our breakfast in the morning. It's like traditional breakfast, what local people are eating, not like American breakfast or what we see in movies, pancakes and syrups, I don't know. So it's very much about like it just being seamlessly a part of the experience, and once again, because you're proud of it, being able to showcase it to the world and be like, the reason you come here is for this.
Very good. So, as many of our listeners through the show, they know that we love technology. And the only way to keep up the new demands of travelers is to keep up with the latest things that's going on. And particularly during the time of the COVID, suddenly hotels start to have check-in, digital concierges, and keyless entries. So I'm curious to get your view on automation in hotels. Do you think this is the way of the future, or maybe it's less human contact? What are your thoughts?
Personally, I don't like it. I know it's weird. I just don't like it. I like seeing people at a hotel. I think there's a little bit of a magic that comes with the human element. I can see the use of it. It can be quite effective, like, kind of like boarding a plane, like how you can check in online and you can bypass people if you're running late for something. So I do see a use for it. My personal opinion, I am not a fan of it. I like to interact with people. I think you can tell. And I think that is important. That's sort of what makes your day. If a robot had to come, like just using the story you shared with me with the lovely fruit juice, if a robot had to show up and bring you, hey, here's your breakfast and there's a little juice, you're going to be like, that's weird. That's a little bit weird. I don't know where that came from. Should I take it? But because there was a bit of a human element there, you might be more trusting of it. I will say this, all of this progress should be looked at just that, as a tool to enhance guest experience. Some guests will absolutely love it and will only want to work that way. And some guests are like, you know what, I'm glad it's there, but I'm just not going to use it.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are that, of course, if I had a very long flight somewhere, I love to be able to get directly to the room because I checked in already in advance and I have maybe the keyless entry, but it doesn't take away from the chance that I want to interact with the staff because I have questions. I'm curious about the location. I have so many other things I want to talk about. So for me personally, the having a chance to go directly to the room and bypassing a long line, or that you have provided the documentation needed, that's my preference. But after that, I really want to interact. I want to also find out, for sure, they will know that I'm not going to eat 3 meals a day in the hotel. Breakfast, yes, but then maybe lunch and dinner somewhere else. And I love to have a chat with the staff and give me some tips of where to go and sites that maybe sort of secret things to see that would not be available on your online. Those are kind of curiosities that makes the big difference in staying in a hotel. Yeah.
I agree. I also think like these platforms, whether you create like an app or something for your guest experience, please don't set it and forget it. And also your websites, okay? I don't know. I actually want to go on a little rant about this. I don't know how many times I've seen independent hotels build a website and then just leave it. A website is a living, breathing organism. It's an extension of your property. As your property changes, so should your website. It's not a house to be built once and left. It's something that the rooms need to be updated constantly. And that's why I think some travelers have better experiences with maybe like chain hotels or OTAs because they have people constantly updating that website. They have people constantly seeing what is the experience. Oh, they prefer this. Let's try that. Oh, the pictures are getting old. Let's do more photography. And that's what you're competing against. And I know it feels like a lot of work, but small changes. If you see your rooms no longer look that way, update the images just so that it always reflects the true form. Personally, I don't know about you, Sam, but like for me, like there's nothing worse than when I see something online and I get there and it's not the same thing. I'm like, why?
Absolutely right. I also think that the websites are totally underutilized by the hotels. They are so focused on the picture of the view from the balcony or picture of an empty hotel room that is very nice and sterile, or there's maybe a fruit basket in there. They're so focused on this. I have this idea, and I've been toying around about it, and I want to challenge any of the hotels who are now listening that you should give it a try. Is, for instance, you may have a playlist of the music which is from the local bands in the area, and then you enjoy it during the time. So why not put that into whether it's one of the famous playlists in there that people can listen to, or even the news updates, what's happening in the community. So now your website is becoming the place where if you're planning a visit another time to that area, you end up at the website of that hotel, and they have kind of the latest what's on in this area. So I think that's one of the things.
I love that idea.
I love to see that the general manager will be behind the microphone and do his little podcast, maybe 5 minutes and 10 minutes, or even do a small video from the beach, saying that here's what's going on here. What do you think?
I love that idea. I think it humanizes the property so much.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying that says humans buy from humans, people buy from people. Yeah. At the end of the day, yes, the property's stunning. Yes, it looks great. But you see other people having fun. You see other people having an experience, and you too crave that experience. So what's the best way to showcase an experience than, a sterile room, we're so used to it. The room has to be clean. That's nothing special. It has to be clean. That's a standard. It has to be clean. Now, what makes it special is, like you said, adding in little touches of these are local places that you can visit, or a handwritten note. I remember I went to this very boutique hotel, and she wrote out, it was for our anniversary, she wrote out a handwritten note. Not one, I know the ones we have where it's pre-written and someone signs it. No, not that. It was handwritten note, and it had these little chocolates next to it. And I remember as soon as I saw it, I took a picture of it. I was like, I want to remember this so much. I want to remember this moment and this tiny little personal touch. And then they had partnerships with local restaurants, and they would say hey, you could have breakfast here, but go out, try this place. It's wonderful. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that.
Okay. So, Carol, we have had a very great discussion and conversation, not a discussion, but conversation about the hotels and so on. So I have 2 more questions for you before we wrap up. One question that I like to ask all my guests, besides that we have talked about, what other trends do you see happening in hospitality that hoteliers should take note of now?
I think a big trend from a digital point of view, from an ads point of view, is that although building an email list has always been a priority, now more than ever, it's going to become a thing of building community. Building experiences online, people who are champions for your property, for your brand, people who want to go there because they see it online and they want to recommend that moment. And I know that's been happening for a little while, but I don't see it going away. You want these Instagrammable moments. You want to have moments where your property has something that everybody goes there for that one thing. Whether it's a beautiful view or whether it's a delicious meal, it's something that makes you special, right? And people want to go and recreate that moment. So for me, that's a trend that's not going away anytime soon. So use it to your advantage. You have wonderful properties. You have wonderful team members. Dig into them and showcase that. And people will come and experience it.
Excellent. Thank you. Lastly, if people are interested to find out more about what you do, Carol, how can they do so? Where can they reach out?
I'm sure it'll be in the show notes somewhere at the bottom, but I do have a website. It is my name and surname, carokabaale.com. And if you're thinking of running Facebook ads, I do have a very fun quiz there. It's only about 6 questions. It takes about 2 minutes to do, and it will tell you your Facebook ads readiness score. So before you go and just put some money out there and hope that it works, it will actually tell you if you are actually ready to take that step and make that investment.
Wonderful. I'll make sure that's going to be in the show notes, and also anybody who's watching this episode here on YouTube will see it on in the show notes also. So Carol, I appreciate you joining today. It has been a really fun conversation with you, and I really learned so much about what you're doing, and also how independent hotels can be much better in handling these Facebook adverts. So thank you very much for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me.